The most, our dearest students who are watching this session from Pan India, and parents and ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to this another interesting IHM Expert Talk Show. Myself, Ernest Emmanuel, the campus director of IHM Hyderabad, and as we are doing many sessions with the great personalities and great leaders, today we have with us another great personality and interesting personality with us. So today, before we go into the session, I would like to introduce the speaker, the guest of the show, Miss Aradhana Lal. She is the Vice President for Brand, Communications and Sustainability for Lemon Tree Hotels Pan India. And talking about Ma'am Lal, and she completed her MBA in IIM Ahmedabad, and then she had worked more than 15-20 years in hospitality industry, and it's very massive experience what she's holding now. And she worked in Taj Properties as a deputy sales manager, and she worked in Hindustan Network as a sales operation manager, and from she joined then he joined Lemon Tree Hotels approximately, I think, if I'm not wrong, more than 9 years. And she's been part of the brand Lemon Tree Hotels, and she held up with various positions. Now she's the vice president for brand, communications, and sustainability. So today she's here to talk on the sustainability topic, and I'm sure she's the right person to talk about the sustainability. On behalf of the entire IHM fraternity, I welcome, it's my immense pleasure, I welcome Miss Aradhan Lal for this IHM Career Studio for interacting and talking to our students. Ma'am, warm welcome to IHM Expert Show, and it is a great honor and pleasure having you in the same platform for this session. And thank you so much for confirming. Few words before we start, ma'am, to our students.
Thank you so much, Ernest. I think it's a very interesting forum for me to be at. I'm normally at forums which are around the development sector, which have to do with sustainability or have to do with inclusion. Now, this is a different forum. It's a hotel operations and a pure hotel forum. And that too, we're talking about chefs, which is one of the most integral parts of the hotel business. And ask us at Lemon Tree, we have learned and understood how important our F&B outlets are and how important the work that our chefs are doing are to the customers. Even if it's a simple homemade meal or it's a fancy meal, it doesn't matter. The guest is always looking for something that's authentic and that tastes nice. And I think that's what chefs do. And given that this is a young chef Olympiad, I think we're looking at the future. We're looking at our teams of tomorrow. And that's very interesting for us. What I'm going to do is I have a short presentation I want to share and talk about the basics of sustainability. I think I'll take maybe about 20 minutes, maybe a little less. And then there's a 5-minute video, which I've already shared with you, which you could please put onto this session at that time. I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a few seconds.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Tell me when you can see this presentation. I'm just putting it on slideshow.
Yes, ma'am, we can see the presentation.
It's visible? Okay, great. So I'm going to speak a little bit about sustainability, which is the environmental side of practices that are undertaken by hotel companies, and then about inclusion and diversity. That's a very large piece of work that gets done at Lemon Tree. It's also happening at many other hotel companies today, and we are very happy when we see it grow. So let's talk about sustainability first. Just a brief overview. There are a few technical words here, but don't worry about it. Just understand the concept a bit. So there are some basic definitions. The first thing is, what is sustainability all about? The definition is around ESG, which is environmental practices, social practices, and corporate governance practices. So when any company runs itself, leave alone a hotel company, any company in the world, ideally, it should base itself on sound and robust ESG practices. And these are basically the 3 pillars where any stakeholder can measure you. So whether it's the share market looking at your company, whether it's a future potential employee, whether it's the government looking at your company, or maybe the development sector, anybody might be viewing your company to understand what it's all about. of course, the financial markets will look at you. So these are the three measures. So it's not about measuring profit alone. It is now about these three factors or these three pillars. There are some global frameworks. We don't have to know all these details. I've just put it there for the purpose of understanding, but I'll just tell you what they stand for. So GRESB is a survey. It's not a reporting system. It's a survey. It's called Global Real Estate Sustainability Benchmark. And just for your knowledge, Lemon Tree has been participating in this survey for about 5 years now, 6 years. So they look at how your management is being run for the company overall from this lens of environment, social, and corporate governance. So they look at how the management is being run, what is your performance, and what are your development projects. There are three broad components. Then the most popular for a reporting framework is something called GRI, which is Global Reporting Initiative, and this is used across the world. In this, they have these different series, 100 series, 200 series, 300 series, 400 series. These are standards. So under each standard or each broad theme, any company, it's not only a hotel company, any company can report what is the work they're doing in the ESG area. So the 100 series is universal standards, which means about your management approach and so on. 200 series is your economic performance standards, which means your market presence, how your company is performing and so on. Then 300 series is environmental. Environmental relates to how much energy you use, how much of renewable energy you use. And that's some work that Lemon Tree does a lot of. How do you recycle your water and reuse it? And how do you manage your waste, wherever possible, recycle or upcycle the waste? And otherwise, how do you dispose of it? These are the questions that get asked under this 300 series. The 400 series is about social performance. This has to do with the human side of the business. So it could be employment, it could be training, diversity, human rights, health and safety, all of that. There is another standard for reporting called SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. It's quite similar to GRI, but here the main standards are in 5 areas: energy, water, ecological, labor practices, and climate change. So you will see that there is similarity in all these standards. I'm just touching upon it so you have an idea that this is how things get reported and studied globally. The key focus areas that Lemon Tree is looking at, just so you know, as a hotel company, what are we focusing on? So the first is we're going to make our first sustainability report for this financial year. It will be made after April, of course, but it will be made for this financial year, and we'll base it on GRI, SASB, and GRESB. Then under the universal standard, which is more to do with management and corporate governance, there are 3-4 important things we're going to do going forward. So one is we'll have third-party review of our sustainability report and any other public disclosure we make. There's going to be a background check of senior leadership and finance team members. It already happens when the person joins, but there's going to be an ongoing check, which means there'll be a self-declaration form every year, and every few years, an external check will be done. The board will be refreshed and right-sized as required by the government and by the SEBI. Then the board priorities are going to be tracked by something called the nomination and the audit committee. Plus, there'll be an external rotation, a rotation of external auditors. This will happen regularly. These are all topics related to governance, corporate governance. In the second series, which is 200 series, we'll look at economic performance. So we want to change or bring in something new, which is the procurement policy that is based on ESG factors. Now, this would impact chefs in the future as well, because procurement is about how you buy supplies for your company, right? Equipment, supplies, hardcore engineering items, all kinds of things you have to buy. So every company has a procurement policy, so do we, but we want to strengthen ours with respect to environment, social, and governance. So we're going to do some benchmarking and some surveys, and then we're going to set it up. And what happens in this policy is, it's not only about your company, you have to extend it to your partners. So there's a human aspect that will come on the next slide, I'll tell you. Then coming to environmental, the 300 series, one of the very big focus areas for us is renewable energy. So we currently have 5% of our total energy is renewable, which means it is either solar or it is based on windmill energy, things like that. We have already undertaken a few contracts that are getting implemented in the next few months, and we will move from this 5% to 30%. This means we become a very environmentally friendly company. We are targeting 50% in the future. We don't know in which year. We're just working towards it. The next area Lemon Tree is focusing on is the greenhouse gas emissions. which we are currently using a tool online to calculate it. But the main focus here is what activities can we undertake as a hotel company with respect to energy, water, waste, all these things, so that our greenhouse emissions come down. Greenhouse emissions is not a good thing to have, so you should bring it down, basically. So we're working on that. We are working on a very comprehensive waste management policy, and there's a study going on right now. Once again, this impacts chefs because it's about how you manage your waste, whether it comes out of the kitchen, whether it comes out of the guest rooms, whether it is some kind of affluent. Many things take place in the kitchen which generate waste. So this will be an item that will impact chefs in the future. Then there's some work going on green building certification. We already do so. Many of our buildings, about 5 or 6, are already certified as green buildings by the Indian Green Building Council. But we are developing a cost-benefit analysis with a consultant to see that the older buildings of ours, which we had not certified, is it easy to do so, or do we have to do some retrofitting? So there's a team working on this right now. And then there's a new piece of work which we haven't done till now. It's called EMS, Environmental Management System. To put it in simple language, it's a software. You buy that software, you implement it across all your hotels, and then the engineering and the projects team and the sustainability team can manage and observe how is each hotel performing in the area of renewable energy, water, waste, and other safety measures. Coming to the social standards, I mentioned there's a human side to that procurement policy we're working on, which means how does the third-party supplier, how does he treat his employees, what sort of labor practices does he have? Those things will also matter. In this day and age, taking care of our data, we have a very large loyalty program with a huge customer base. And of course, we have other guests who keep booking with us regularly. So managing their data and maintaining their privacy and the safety of their data is a very important initiative to undertake. We do have a policy, we're redefining it, making it much stronger. Just for your knowledge, there is a data privacy bill that has been put forward to the government by the ministry, of course. And this will become an act in the near future. We don't know how soon. So that will become a legal binding issue for us, for all companies, not only a hotel company. And we're going to benchmark our peers and do some work. In the social area, we do a lot of work already, which has to do with diversity and inclusion. I'll be sharing that in a moment. So now that was the very brief overview about the environmental and the governance side of things. Now we're coming to the social side, which is what Lemon Tree is pretty well known for. Maybe some of your students already have heard about the fact that we hire people with disability and we hire people from economically and socially marginalized backgrounds. So many people ask us, why does Lemon Tree believe in inclusion? So let me answer that question first. We actually believe there is a business case. So look at it from an employee lens. We are addressing a bigger talent pool. Normally, we go to all the hotel schools like yours and we recruit team members. Also, sometimes if we are looking for a person with experience, we might find somebody available in the market who's worked in another hotel company. So they are typical hoteliers, basically. But we can also look beyond this if we want to, and that's what we did about 13 years ago when we started the inclusion work. We started looking at candidates who were deaf, who had a physical handicap, who had low vision, different kinds of disability. And suddenly we were looking at a much wider talent pool than what any hotel company looks at. Another interesting outcome is creativity. Within the team, if there are people who negotiate their whole life, they are always trying to live and carry out their day, given the disability they have. So suppose a person is deaf, suppose a person has an intellectual disability, suppose a person is autistic. Whenever they are engaging with anybody outside their homes or even inside their homes, they have to keep in mind this disability and they develop other faculties very, very well. So example, a deaf person's ability to observe is very, very high. And they can sense things and see things which a hearing person cannot, like I cannot, for instance. So we find that this skill that gets developed for other faculties other than the one where that person has disability makes them much more creative. And many times they help us find solutions to operational issues which we might not have thought of without that person, who had that special skill. The third very important idea, and this would be very important for the HR teams, though I know I'm addressing a group of chefs, but eventually this is important for the company. It's called employee engagement. This means that the people enjoy coming to work and they look forward to coming to work and they want to come to work. It's a tough thing for any company to do, you know. Only salary is not enough. There are other things you need in the company that makes you enjoy your work. So when we've done some surveys, we were part of Great Place to Work. It's a survey that gets done around the country, around the world. And we've been part of the top 100 for many years. Around 2 years back, we were number 4 in India and number 12 in Asia, which really made us proud. And one of the reasons was the inclusion work we do, plus many, many other HR practices. So in that, there was a survey where people were asked who had worked in Lemon Tree for more than 3 years. They were asked, why do you keep working in Lemon Tree? Now, you all are trained to be hoteliers. You know that people move between companies very quickly. You are aware of it. So when someone works for more than 3 years, it's interesting to know why did they do so? So they gave 2 answers. One is, in Lemon Tree, I get very quick growth. And the second answer is, I feel very satisfied. I feel very proud, which is this point under employee engagement, and to be in this company because it is an inclusive company. There are people with different abilities. I teach them things and they teach me things also, which is really fabulous. And I must tell you that the F&B team has a lot of people with disability in the team, in food and beverage service and in food and beverage production, especially in stewarding. So the chefs in our company engage with people with disability a lot. It's part of their job, actually. And if any of you come and join Lemon Tree, you will also experience it. The last aspect from an employee lens is about attrition. Attrition means people who are leaving the job, basically. So here, if the company's overall attrition is, say, approximately 50%, we find that employees with disability are half, which means around 25 to 30%. Now, this is again very good from an HR perspective, even from operations perspective. If your team members are going to stay longer and not keep leaving very fast, then you have a good, well-trained team working with you, isn't it? So that was the employee lens. The other is the customer lens, or what we call brand benefits. Now here what happens, if there is a new guest who has never stayed in Lemon Tree before, but has heard about the inclusion work and says, let me try it. I have heard so much about this place. Let me go and try. That is considered to be a competitive advantage. That guest could have stayed at any other hotel company in the country, but he chose to stay at Lemon Tree because he felt, I want to see how do they employ people with disability. Once he stays with us, if we give him good service, which is our job to do actually, then he feels that this is a good place and he wants to return. That is called consumer loyalty. Some of them even go and share feedback with their colleagues, their family members, their friends. They might go and write on TripAdvisor. We are all aware of TripAdvisor. It's a blog which is meant for people to share about their experiences at hotels and restaurants. So they start recommending us. So imagine an initiative which is done for a different purpose, for an HR purpose, is also impacting the guests. So it becomes a good impact from the brand perspective. The third lens is nation building. If any company you join wants to contribute to the nation, then this is a good piece of work to do, because if in society there are people with disability, then why not in our company? If we can manage to give opportunity to someone who doesn't get opportunity or has a lesser chance to get a job and then live with dignity, live with independence and self-reliance, why not? So these are the key reasons, or what we call the business sense of doing inclusion. Those of you who may not be aware of Lemon Tree, it's India's fastest growing chain of upscale, mid-scale and economy hotels. If you see the bottom of the slide, there are 7 brands showing there. Aurika is our upscale brand. There is only one hotel right now in Udaipur. It's a resort. Then there's Lemon Tree Premier, which is a upper mid-scale, or you can say close to 4-star brand. Then there's the mother brand, which is called Lemon Tree Hotels, which is mid-scale. Red Fox is economy or budget. 2 years back, we acquired the Keys Hotels brand. So we have Keys Prima, Keys Select, and Keys Light, also in the upper mid-scale, and economy segments. Today, we have 84 hotels. We are happy to tell you, even in the lockdown, we have been able to open more than 5 or 6 hotels. They are all managed hotels, and there were projects that were already underway. In fact, day before yesterday, one day before Republic Day, we opened a hotel in Aligarh. So we're very happy to report that. So today we are 84 hotels. We are in 51 cities. We have 8,300 rooms and about 8,000 employees. We are really the 3rd largest hotel chain in India if you look at only owned rooms. If you look at owned and managed, we might be the 4th or the 5th largest. Now coming to inclusion, this work started in 2007. So before 2007, we had 0 employees with disability. Where we stand today, there are about 450 employees with disability, which we call EWD in short form. And there's another segment we pursue, which is economically and socially marginalized. I will just share with you examples of this segment. We have about 350 of them. So as a company, 16% of our employees are opportunity disabled Indians or opportunity deprived Indians, in short form ODI. This is not the ODI of cricket, which we all love. This is the ODI that we have named. By 2025, or maybe a year later now, because of this whole pandemic, our entire industry has got shaken up. So maybe 2026 possibly, we want to take our ODI percentage from 16 to about 40 to 45%. It's a very aggressive target, but we hope to get there, and there's a lot of work going on for it. Now, what kind of disabilities are we hiring? Just for you to understand. One is called SHI, speech and hearing impaired, and they are also known as deaf. They like to be called deaf. It's a sense of pride. The word is not deaf and dumb. I'd like to clarify to you. The word is only deaf. That's all you have to say. The second category is OH, or orthopedically or physically handicapped. This could be a person on a wheelchair. This could be a person who has a problem with one arm maybe, or has a problem with their back or one leg, partial, what we call partial handicap, or a person who has to use a wheelchair, which is a complete handicap. Then we've started hiring acid survivors. These are people who've been victims of an acid attack, but they have survived, of course. This impacts their vision, it can impact their speech, it impacts them physically because the acid gets thrown on their face and upper body, and that's how they get impacted. Then we started work with intellectual disability. These are the different disabilities under that. They are called Down syndrome. I'll show you some photographs right now. Slow learner, mild MR, MR stands for mental retardation, intellectual and developmental disability. These are the different types that fall under intellectual. Then there is autism. Now, autism is broadly considered to be an intellectual disability, but it's not about the IQ. It is actually to do with social engagement. And you can imagine in a hotel company, you are meeting new guests and new colleagues all the time. So a person who's autistic finds that a bit difficult. And there are ways in which to manage it, and I'll talk about that. And of course, we've looked at visually impaired or blind, and those who have low vision. Low vision means you can see some amount, but you can't see 100%. And looking at the segments in economically and socially marginalized, which was, remember I told you, it's the second segment. So here we've hired people who are orphans or abandoned girls. Of course, they're above the age of 18, but they are people who don't have a family, essentially. Then we've got a segment of widows and divorcees, people who need to earn money to maintain themselves and their children. We started some work recently with transgenders. We are still trying to grow this practice. You know, transgenders are very marginalized in our communities. So is disability, actually. But this is another segment that needs support. Then BPL, below poverty line, and those who are educated up to class 9. See, many companies hire people who go up to class 10 and beyond, but up to class 9, it's very hard to find a job. So we hire them and we train them in the appropriate area. There's a model we've developed. I'll share it very briefly. This is something we share with other companies, but I'll just give you an idea what it is because we're talking about inclusion. So for any company to hire people with disability or to hire people who are economically and socially marginalized on a regular basis, it's not done for charity. It is part of your business model. It is your HR practice. If they follow these 7 steps, it will become much easier for them. The first step is vision and then cascade. Vision should come from the person who leads the company. So in our case, our chairman and managing director, who's also the founder of Lemon Tree, his name is Pathu Keswani, was the person who came up with this idea 13 years ago. And he believes in it very firmly as part of our business model. And therefore, he's able to share that vision with all of us who head our different functions. So it's not just HR or it's not just sustainability who has to believe in it. If it's a hotel company like ours, then the F&B head has to believe in it. Housekeeping head has to believe. Operations head, finance, sales, marketing, or engineering. Every department has to be on board with this idea that we will hire people who have special needs and we'll hire people whose education is not complete to be part of our different teams, because hiring takes place in the hotels. No, it has to be part of one of those departments. The second step is to have a dedicated resource, which is basically someone who focuses on this initiative. The third is to conduct sensitization. Just because the person who heads the company and the leadership team understands what's going on doesn't mean our 8,000 employees know what's happening, right? So from the beginning and even till now, after 13 years or 14 years, we keep sensitizing our team members, especially new joinees. We must share with them what is our vision on hiring people with disability, why do we do it, and what are these different disabilities. I just named them for you, but you may not know, how do I work with someone who's autistic in my team? How do I work with a deaf person? Someone has to teach you what to do and how to go about it. That gets covered in sensitization. The fourth is job mapping. We don't just bring a person in and say, yeah, we'll find some role for you. We are not vague like that. So we work it out. We say for a person who's deaf, he can be an F&B service associate. He can be a room boy. So we work this out. This work is done by a proper detailed study. It takes several hours. It goes on for a few days, where every task is looked at. So I'll give you an example. A food and beverage executive in the coffee shop, what are the tasks that person has? That person has to pour water. That person has to set the table. That person has to keep the buffet filled regularly, set up the buffet, shut down the buffet. Then when the guest arrives at the coffee shop, they have to welcome them, seat them, offer the menu. These are all the different tasks. So that is mapped versus the disability. And for this, because we are hoteliers, we are not experts in disability. So we take the help of partners. These are people who are working in NGOs, non-government organizations. They understand disability. They are trained to understand deaf. They are trained to understand autistic. They are trained to understand low vision. So they can help us in doing this job mapping and coming to a conclusion that in our hotel company, which roles will be more suitable for which disability. That's what it's all about. The fifth pillar is developing partnership. This means we cannot do this work alone. We must partner with hotel colleges like yours. We must partner with NGOs. We can also partner with the government. We can get some learnings and support from them. And we can also partner with other hotel companies and beyond, not just hotel. They could be restaurant companies, IT companies, retail companies, it doesn't matter. So there is no sense of competition in this matter. There is a sense of sharing and learning. The sixth pillar is to run traineeships. If you're taking on a new disability, rather than making it a company-wide practice instantly, it's better to run a small pilot, run a small traineeship, monitor it, review it, understand any problems and difficulties you face, and make some corrections. The whole focus has to be on how the training is conducted so that that person learns his job easily and can contribute to the team. The seventh and most important pillar is scaling up. That means don't just do little pilots, make it a national practice. I'll give you one or two very small examples of what we have to do in the company to get the company ready for a person with disability. Now take SHI, for instance, which is speech and hearing impaired or deaf. We have this introductory card. If you see this green and white card on the screen, it basically tells a customer who may not know that we have people who are deaf in our company, a new customer. It tells them in a few seconds, the person just shows the card to them that I am deaf and I cannot speak. If you write down your request, I'll be very happy to serve you. So it makes it very easy. Another thing we did, we changed some of our standard operating procedures. So example, the menu. You must be familiar as chefs that typically in a coffee shop or a hotel, the menu has an item name and it has a description. Normally, menus are not numbered. This happens in a quick service restaurant. It doesn't happen in a hotel restaurant. So we changed that and we numbered our menus so that when the description is also there and the number is also there. Goes to the guest and shows the card and says you can write down your order. The guest is not wasting time and writing tandoori chicken or pasta with mushroom or whatever. They don't have to write the whole description. They just write item 27, item 41. That's all, and it's very easy. Also, the deaf are able to engage very quickly and easily on WhatsApp groups if you write a text, or you can post a video in Indian Sign Language. By the way, at Lemon Tree, everyone has learned Indian Sign Language, including our chairman and all of us. So we know Hindi, we know English, and we know Indian Sign Language. That's how we work. If you look at physical handicap, OH, you have to have accessible back areas. You know, in hotels, many times, the front of the house is very easy for a wheelchair to move around. But the back of the house, sometimes the corridors are narrow, some door is narrow, it becomes difficult. So we have to work on that. The other is we assign roles to a person with physical handicap which have minimal movement. That means maybe that person's job is to sit at the desk, use a computer, use a telephone, and do all his work. He doesn't have to keep walking around the hotel all the time. That will be very tough for a person who has physical handicap. In the case of Down syndrome and autism, it's some very interesting work we've done. Down syndrome takes place in the coffee shop, so it's relevant for the chefs. It matters to the chefs. We run a traineeship model. See, these folks don't have proper training or education behind them because they're very marginalized. So we first run a traineeship. They come as interns for about 6 months. And if they learn everything well, then we make a job offer. Now, one of the difficulties with the person with Down syndrome is that their bodies are different. Their organs are not as strong as us. They get fatigued or tired much quicker than anybody else who does not have Down syndrome. So we have not assigned them on night shift, and their afternoon shift, instead of the typical time of 3 p.m. to midnight, the afternoon shift is revised and it is 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. The goal is that they will also work 9 hours like everybody else, but we don't want to disturb their sleep because they'll become ill if we disturb their sleep. Secondly, they speak in smaller, shorter sentences. So the standard phrases that we use in the coffee shop, we revise them for these boys and girls so that they can speak easily. I just want to share this last example here, then I'm going to show you some photographs. It's called Me Book. If you look on the right side of the slide, it's got a time slot. It mentions the activity. There's a photograph of that boy or girl doing that activity. The reason is a person with Down syndrome, it's a biological thing. Their memory is not very good. They do tend to forget things. So the Me Book is showing them their schedule for the day. It's a different Me Book for morning shift, different for afternoon shift. And it shows them doing the task. So what happens is if they're forgetting, what am I supposed to do now? They just open the Me Book, see the time slot, and then they're able to understand. Otherwise, imagine all these team members will keep asking the manager every 10 minutes, what should I do? What should I do? It cannot be like that. So it's a tool. It supports the whole inclusion of Down syndrome. Now let's just look at some photographs. Then I'm done with the session. This is a girl who's an acid survivor. She knows how to use a computer. She knows how to use the phone. She speaks very well. So she doesn't have to come face to face with the guest. She's part of our revenue management and distribution team. She handles reservations via email, via phone. She gets onto online systems and does a lot of bookings and stuff. So we've trained her for that, and she's very happy and has been with us for a number of years. These two are autistic boys. Both are part of housekeeping and they are room boys. With autism, if you give them a role that has repetitive actions, they like that a lot because it's predictable. They know what they have to do. They don't have any confusion in their mind. So the first boy is doing dusting, and there's a very specific way in which you dust a frame and all that. The second boy is putting TCM, tea, coffee, milk, and he's setting it up in the room. So you have to count how many tea bags, sugar, napkin, all of that is fixed. So they are able to do it very comfortably. These are the Down syndrome boys. They're in food and beverage service in the coffee shop. So they are in Red Fox, these particular boys. One of them is stacking the juices. Now, if you notice, these juice packs look very similar, but actually one is orange, one is mango, one is apple, and so on. So we train them to recognize the picture of the fruit and then know which shelf you have to keep it on. The other boys are, of course, folding napkins, which is a simple activity. This is our finance team where one person is hard of hearing. If you see, he's got a hearing aid there, the person without spectacles. And now what you have to remember is, while we might take people with lower levels of education in roles where it's not important, but in the case of finance, it is important to have a BCom. So this person is a fully educated person. This is people with physical handicaps. So the person on the left in front of our logo who's handling the photocopier, he is a person who doesn't have a right arm and he's part of the front desk. He does all his work with the left arm. Then on the top right, the person on the wheelchair is also part of front desk. He's assisting a guest to the room. On the bottom right is a person in housekeeping who uses assistance to walk, the walking sticks. And he is part of housekeeping, the supervisory desk. I remember I told you for physical handicap, we keep the role as stationary as possible. So that's his role. These are all deaf colleagues in food and beverage, in laundry, in housekeeping. Just look at the top left, you can see a chef. He's engaging with the deaf boy in the orange shirt. And the chef is a hearing person, but he's learned sign language and he's communicating everything in sign language. So all of you who are going to be young chefs, as you move out into the working world, whether it's Lemon Tree or other companies, a lot of companies now hire deaf people. So you will also get a chance to learn Indian Sign Language. Just some fun moments. You can see lots of smiles. There are some managers in these photographs also. And this is the whole integrated team. So the managers can be seen. You can see me in the middle. Then there are Down syndrome, autism, deaf, all mixed people. So this is the whole integrated team. So that's the piece I wanted to share. And if we could run the AV, whatever I've told you, it's represented very nicely in the AV in just 5 minutes. If you could please run that, I'll stop sharing the screen. There we are.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Lot of insights, lot of inputs about the sustainability, about the initiatives Lemon Tree Hotels takes. So huge. There are many things which we never know that. We know
Yes.
that Lemon Tree offers job for the disability people. Lemon Tree offers for the different. We have seen because we keep visiting Lemon Tree Hotels. But there's so many things. It's a great initiative to Lemon Tree Hotels what have taken, and huge congratulations to you and Lemon Tree, ma'am.
Thank you.
And wish you all the best and good luck for all the initiatives you've taken
Thank
and for students, for the society. And I request my IT team to have the video AV, please.
जब ये छोटा था तो मुझे पता नहीं था कि ऑटिज्म होता क्या है। जैसे जैसे ये बड़ा होता गया मेरी टेंशन बढ़ती गई।
Person with autism has a difficulty in social and communication skills. If we see कि कितना अच्छे से वो डस्टिंग और सारा रूम बनाते हैं, बट वो रूम बनाने के पीछे जो चीज़ें होती हैं वो बहुत सी मेहनत की जाती है उनके साथ। जो भी एक टास्क है उसको SOP को भी बहुत छोटा छोटा ब्रेक करके और उसको सिखाना, एक मैनुअल, डिफरेंट मैनुअल बनाया जाता है
जो कि नॉर्मल बच्चे नहीं कर पाते। ये इतना कॉन्फिडेंट हो गए कि मम्मा मैं हूँ आपके साथ, मैं करूँगा।
आई थिंक सो कोई भी इतना परफेक्टली काम नहीं कर सकता जितना वो कर रहा है घर में।
आज मैं गर्व फील करती हूँ कि ऐसा बच्चा मुझे मिला है जो
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was lovely, session what we had today, and definitely there are a lot of insights and inputs our students will learn today about the sustainability about the hotels, lemon tree hotels. And thank you so much for your time.